Hey everyone, welcome to week 4. You guys are fast approaching the halfway point of this challenge. So by the end of this week, you will be on the over the crest and going into the home stretch for this challenge. And I hope that you're feeling by now like this is starting to become a habit. I know I've seen some of you comment in your weekly reflections that it feels like things are getting easier, and I'm super proud of you. I know I mentioned last week that week 3 is historically a very challenging week. It's when things start to get really tough for people. And maybe you did have some challenges this week, but just from what I'm noticing from your weekly reflections, it sounds like you guys sailed through and did an awesome job. And for those of you who have already had that rough week, you were able to kind of course correct and get right back on track. And you should be really proud of yourselves. That's not an easy thing to do, and it's why a lot of people tend to give up. And you guys didn't do that. You powered through, and hopefully you find that from here on out, things start to get easy and maybe even enjoyable, and something that you feel like you can sustain for the long term, which is what our goal is, right? This isn't just a short-term fix. This is a long-term lifestyle change. So you should be really proud of yourselves. So now going into week 4, I really want to spend a lot of time on this topic this week. So we're going to be talking all about protein. You guys probably have heard me harp on this for the last 3 weeks, and for those of you who have been coaching with me privately for a lot longer, and it's because it is really essential to your success. So we're going to be talking about protein today in quite some detail. So buckle up, get ready. Here we go. So I wanted to do a quick recap of week 3 and then kind of looking ahead to week 4, what to prepare for. This is kind of a unique week because we're going to be doing our halfway check-in. And then we're going to be talking about the power protein for fat loss. So I have a ton of information. There's so much to go over, and you will see in the amount of the volume of information I provided that this is really important, and I didn't want to gloss over it. So this might be a lesson that goes a little bit long, and it might be one that you want to come back and rewatch at least once throughout this week, and then probably again in the future, just to reiterate. So I'm going to go through as quickly as I possibly can, but there's just a lot of information to cover. So if it does run long, I understand if you want to break this up into smaller sessions, but I just don't want to skip over this too much. I mean, I'm dialing it down to as simple as I can go, but I didn't want to water it down too much. Okay, so I put in the highlights for us. Okay, so our recap of week 3 and the game plan for week 4. I'm going to kind of combine these together for the sake of time. So you guys have been doing an awesome job getting your workouts in. I'm really impressed, and I'm proud of you, and I love seeing all your workouts completed. I love seeing you guys in the gym, getting them done on your own. It just makes me like a really proud mama. So good job. And you should be on your last week of metabolic workouts. So anticipate a brand new phase of metabolic workouts in the bridge by this weekend, and they'll be ready to go for you for next week. So get ready for that. Power through these last 2 or 3 of your metabolics that you might have still to complete, and then get ready for some new ones to drop next week. For nutrition, I'm just really impressed with you guys. Like I said at the beginning of this, for those of you who felt like you already had your rough week, like you got them out of the way, and then you have really made those adjustments. And I love seeing you guys take control over your nutrition and really start to form your own game plans based on what you're seeing in your nutrition journal. And I really hope you guys are seeing the power of tracking, maybe not for the rest of your life, but for this period of time, getting that valuable feedback and information from those nutrition journals. And I'm seeing you guys really provide some very insightful reflections about what you're seeing in those, and then making those action steps and making those adjustments moving forward. So great job. Continue to do that. And especially as we talk about protein this week, you may want to go back through your nutrition journals and what you've written down for each week, and look for holes, look for opportunities to plug those holes up with protein. And we'll talk about why that's so important. So yeah, it might be an opportunity for you guys to like go back and just rebrowse. Again, I want you to walk away from this challenge with like a game plan and a formula. So utilizing those nutrition journals as opportunities to look for places to improve. And then continue to work on spreading out your meals over 4 to 5 smaller meals rather than 2 to 3 larger meals. We talked about why that was so important last week. It will be even more important as we talk about protein this week. So continue to do that. I know that might be a struggle for some of you, but just it's an ongoing process. And each week we try and get a little bit better. And then at the end of this week, we will be remeasuring and trying on your jeans again. So again, this is kind of a unique week because we're going to check in. And no, I don't expect you guys to be in your jeans yet. I hope you don't have that expectation for yourself, but I do want you to see at least, you know, if you've been doing all the things, doing all the workouts, tracking everything, following the guidelines, you should see some change in your how your jeans fit and in your photos. So on Wednesday this week, look for in the Nudge app your remeasurement card with directions on how to do that. We're going to do that between Wednesday and Friday of this week. So you don't need to do it today. Starting tomorrow on Wednesday, when you see that in the app, then do your measurements, okay? So don't worry about that right now, but just know that at the end of this week, you're going to get a chance to try your jeans on again. Very exciting. Can't wait to see how that goes. All right, now let's dive into the meat and potatoes of this lesson. We're going to be talking about the power of protein for fat loss. And again, I harp on this so much, and it's because the evidence is overwhelming on the importance of protein intake for fat loss success. So I'm just going to keep, throwing it at you and talking about it. It might sound like a broken record, but it's because it is just so, it's crucial. It's crucial for you if your goal is to lose body fat. And look and feel better in your clothing. It's going to make you have that athletic, lean body that you want, and then also help you sustain and maintain all of this progress that you're creating for yourself. So again, tons of information. Feel free to go back through and read through this at your leisure, or rewatch this lesson. But protein is extremely important for just so many different reasons. And they're all kind of listed here, but I really want to kind of highlight the one at the very bottom where we're talking about how we lose muscle mass just as we age. So as we get older, it actually becomes more and more and more important for us to maintain our lean muscle. And if we do that, we can also, our bones are going to only strengthen with the amount of force that's applied to them. And the only way for us to apply more force to them and require them to stay strong is by adding more muscle to them. So by adding more muscle, we're able to apply greater forces, and therefore our bones have to adapt and get stronger to adapt and resist those additional resistance forces. So it becomes super crucial for us to do this, not just for now, but for the future, plan for the future. And I can tell you a really unfortunate story of how my grandmother passed away. And it started with the fact that she didn't have any lean muscle, and it was just a slippery slope from there. I'm happy to share that story with any of you. But it just reiterates to me just how important it is for us all to do this, not just for ourselves right now, but for our longevity, for how long we want to live and how active we want to be, and the lifestyles that we want to lead when we get older. So you can read through this again at your leisure, but it's so important for us to make sure that we're having that positive nitrogen balance. And it's crucial that we have a positive nitrogen balance, not just for all the reasons listed here, but we want to make sure that we're prioritizing weight loss, not just like general weight loss, but weight loss specifically from fat loss and not from lean muscle. And sometimes we just look at what the number is on the scale, and we want to make sure that weight loss isn't coming from loss of muscle, right? Because yeah, the number on the scale might go down, but if we're losing muscle, we are not only losing our ability to burn more calories at rest, but we're also losing our ability to maintain that lean body that we want, and also for our longevity, like I was just talking about. So having this positive nitrogen balance is crucial when we're aiming for the fat loss that we're looking for. It also will trigger our body to signal muscle preservation as being more important than fat storage. So that's another critical reason why this is so important. So we do this through a combination of resistance training, which is what you're doing in your workouts, a slight caloric deficit, which we'll talk about in a moment, and that positive nitrogen balance. And positive nitrogen balance, as it's listed there, is just making sure that we have enough amino acids from the food that we eat, from the protein that we're eating, to make sure that we have an excess of amino acids to build that lean muscle and replace that lean muscle. We don't store muscle in our body. So this is a continuation of why it's so important. I mean, you can see all the bullet points, how important it is. Studies have shown that increasing protein by itself with no other intervention, without counting calories or anything, just increasing our protein intake will lead to a lower overall caloric intake. So as I was mentioning on the slide before, that combination of resistance training, a positive nitrogen balance, and a slight caloric deficit is crucial for fat loss, not just weight loss, fat loss specifically. So just by increasing our amount of protein that we consume every day, we will likely decrease our overall caloric intake, in addition to the benefits of protein decreasing our cravings, making us feel full and satiated, and all those good things, which is what we want. We don't want to be feeling hungry, right? Miserable. We want to feel full and satiated, in addition to eating less calories overall. So we will automatically create that caloric deficit that we need to lose body fat. In addition, fat and carbohydrate are metabolized really easily in our body. They're very easily metabolized and converted into usable energy or stored. They're really easily stored. But protein actually requires a lot of energy to break it down, metabolize it, and then turn it into either a usable energy source or turn it into muscle. So whereas fat and carbohydrate require 0 to 10% energy to metabolize it, protein actually requires 20 to 30% of the energy we consume just to metabolize it. So depending on how much protein you eat, that can lead to between 100 to 300 additional calories burned just to metabolize the food that we ate, the protein that we ate. So that could be like a whole extra workout each day in caloric burn, right? So that's pretty amazing. And like we were just talking about, fat and carbohydrates are so easily processed into storable energies. They can be stored as fat or as glycogen. Protein is only stored at about 65% efficiency. So it's really hard to store protein. So the more protein that we have, the less, the less likely it's going to be converted into a storable thing. Whereas like if you're eating more fat or more carbohydrate, that can really easily be converted into fat storage, right? So eating more protein, it's really hard for it to be converted into a fat storage, or it's less efficiently stored as fat. So that's another really important reason why eating more protein, it can be really helpful, because we're not going to be storing it as efficiently as fat. So quality matters, right? We can just say eat more protein, and I don't want you guys to stress too much about this, but I do want to make this point that the quality of the protein does matter. So this is just a quick little chart of the bioavailability of different protein sources. And I'm not forcing you to eat one way or the other. I'm just giving you information, and you can do what you will with it, but now you are more informed and you can make more informed decisions about what you're eating. So just in case you guys don't know, some of you might, so humor me, there's a difference between complete and incomplete proteins. So incomplete proteins are protein sources that don't have all of the amino acids that we need, that we can't make in our body. So essential amino acids are amino acids that we can't make in our body. So incomplete proteins are missing at least one of those essential amino acids, whereas complete proteins include all of the essential amino acids. Most animal sources of protein are complete, meaning that they have every amino acid that we need. And most plant sources are missing at least one, and they're therefore incomplete protein sources. And again, big asterisk, There are some plant sources that are complete. So I'm just doing this as a generalization just to make it easy for us to remember. So if you're eating mostly plant-based diet, you may need to be strategically combining one or more incomplete proteins to create a complete protein source. So a really easy example or a common example of this is beans and rice. You combine those two and you have a complete protein. So beyond that, within those protein sources, there is a difference in how available the protein is and how digestible it is as a usable source for protein. So this just kind of gives you a quick rundown. You can obviously see at the very top, red meat and whey protein and casein protein are extremely good sources of both digestible and bioavailable protein. In addition, eggs are, like you can see, is 100%. Whey is 104. So yeah, I'm not forcing you guys to have whey protein. Again, it's completely up to you. I'm just giving you the information, and maybe it starts to make sense as to why we encourage you to look at those sources, because they are, one, very easily digestible, and two, readily available protein sources, in addition to being complete protein sources. And then you can kind of see down the list. I want to kind of notate that, you know, we talk about peanut butter, and peanut butter is a good source of protein, but just keep in mind that it's not as bioavailable, meaning that it's not going to be as usable in your body. So it's still a good source, right? It's still protein, but if we're looking at quality, then we need to be clear that there are better options out there. So maybe it's something that you want to consider is, you know, between peanut butter and something else, maybe there's another option for you. So just more information for you guys to be better informed on your decision, your nutrition choices, right? So quality matters, quantity matters. Both of these things are very important. So for most of you, let's just talk about you, because that's what's most important. For most of you, you guys are resistance training a few days a week. You are exercising regularly. So we would put you in more of kind of like an athlete category. So most of you should be eating between 0.8 and 1 gram of protein per pound of body fat. So as an easy example, if you're a 150-pound adult, you should be eating between 120 and 150 grams of protein on a daily basis. So, you know, you can kind of do the math if you want to, but I like to make it super easy. And I just say 1 gram per pound. So if you're 150 pounds, 150 grams, make it easy. And for most of us who have moderate fat loss goals, basing our daily intake on our goal weight is a good place to start. So let's say this 150-pound adult wanted to get down to 135. We would say 135 grams of protein, and you can see that's right within the range of protein. So if that's another place that you can kind of think of to start, and that's a great place to aim for. And then vegans and vegetarians, because we just talked about the quality of the protein, it's recommended that you add a little bit more protein per day to kind of offset any incomplete protein sources. So just keep that in mind. If it was 135, you might want to add on 12 grams to that just to make up for any changes. All right. So quality matters, quantity matters, timing matters. So we talked a little bit about this last week about spreading out your meals throughout the day to keep a stable energy source throughout the day, a stable blood sugar throughout the day, and how important that is. And this is really helpful for protein as well, because our body can't metabolize all your protein at one time. So if you didn't eat all day and then you're like, oh shoot, I need to get my 135 grams of protein in, and you just drank a bunch of, you know, protein shake, 135 grams of it, it really wouldn't do you much good, because your body can only metabolize so much at a time. Again, protein, to process protein is an extremely energy taxing process, and to turn it into muscle is an extremely energy taxing process. So your body can only do so much at once. And again, we don't want to clog up our system like the gas in the car analogy. We don't want to be plugging up our car with fuel because it's gonna choke, right? We want to have that stable energy source. And this is extremely important for protein as well. So it really pairs nicely with keeping your blood sugar stable in those 4 to 5 meals. And it really pairs nicely with having this protein sprinkled throughout your day so that your body can do the most with what you're giving it. So we can metabolize about 20 to 30 grams of protein per quote unquote meal. I'm saying meal because I'm going to include snacks in there. And that's about 1.5 to 2 hours. So it can do about 10 grams per hour. So per seating, per meal, that's every 3 to 4 hours, we're good, right? So if you're eating more than 30 grams in one sitting, your body can't really metabolize that. And that's either going to get processed out to be used somewhere else in your body, maybe stored as fat or excreted through your urine. So studies have shown that there is some benefit to having your protein source right after your workout. So you guys know how important I emphasize how important having your post-workout shake or making sure you have protein in a meal right after your workout. And it's because of this reason, because studies have actually shown that there is benefit to muscle repair by having protein right after your workout. And again, the quality matters. So having a whey protein shake or some sort of protein shake is really helpful because it doesn't have all the fiber or things that are going to slow down the metabolizing of that protein source. And so it'll be really quickly processed and readily available to start repairing those muscle tissues and get you a better result out of the workout that you just did. And that's what we want. You worked out really hard. I want to make sure you guys are getting the most out of it. So make sure you have that post-workout protein shake or some sort of readily available protein right after you work out, minimal fiber, minimal fat to make sure that you're getting it into your system as quickly as possible. And then I kind of put some suggestions if we're having those 4 to 5 smaller meals throughout the day with every meal. So like breakfast, lunch, dinner, if we're considering those like the main meals, about 20 to 30 grams. And then every snack, about 10 to 20 grams of protein in addition to your post-workout shake on your workout days. And you should be getting pretty close to your protein goal. Plus or minus is obviously going to be based on your specific needs and goals. But that's a good general rule. All right, so quality matters, quantity matters, and timing matters. So I want you now to look back at your nutrition journals, and I want you to scan the last 3 weeks and see if you can find any holes. Like, I kind of scanned through some of your food journals, and I've noticed maybe some snacks that might be some areas that we could fill that hole with some more protein. If you're not sure what to eat, go back to your nutrition guide and the recommended grocery list to look at some suggestions for good protein sources. And then you can go to the recipe guide and look at maybe some other options or things to add some variety to your snacks to get more protein in. And if you guys are still not sure what those options might be, or you want suggestions, or you guys just want to kind of talk and bounce ideas off each other, go to the community page and let's talk about it there. So that's going to be kind of my encouragement to you this week is to go back through your nutrition journal and look for those opportunities, look for those holes that we can fill with some more protein. And if you're not sure how close you are to your protein goal, if you're not sure if you're getting close to that 1 gram per pound or 1 gram per pound of your goal weight, then what you can do is you can take your nutrition, like 1 day or 2 days of your nutrition guide and go to like MyFitnessPal. It's free. So you can just log into there and plug everything in and see how close you're getting. But if you're getting, roughly close to that palm-sized portion of lean protein every meal, that's about 20 grams. It's a good estimate. So if you're not into logging everything, that's fine. We can eyeball it, but you just need to make sure, there might be some opportunities that you're just straight up missing protein in a snack or a meal, and we need to make sure that gets addressed, right? All right, I know that was a lot of information. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me. Feel free to come back and rewatch this or break this up into smaller pieces and just kind of come and go and take what you need from it and then come back to it later. Again, I didn't want to gloss over it, but there's just so much information and I just wanted to get you like the most pertinent stuff and we can continue the conversation as much as you want to on our coaching calls or in the community page. All right. I look forward to seeing your updated photos of you trying on your jeans. I can't wait to see how that feels, to see some progress. And if you're not seeing progress in those check-ins, then let's talk about it. Okay, let's take a really deep look into the food journal. Have we been doing all the rules? Have we been following all the guidelines? Or are we missing some workouts? Is there an opportunity in the workouts? Could we be, making them more efficient, making them more challenging? Are we missing opportunities to eat protein? All of those things are going to come together into that trifecta of perfect fat loss. So I look forward to seeing that. And then I look forward to talking with some of you who maybe want to step it up for the second half of the challenge. That's why we do the check-in, so we can course correct if we need to. All right. Have a wonderful week. You guys are doing awesome. Super proud of all of you. And I hope you're really proud of yourselves. And I look forward to chatting with you in the community page. All right. Have a great one.